Good morning, students of Agusan del Sur. I am Ma'am Emerald, your teacher in oral communication in context. And today, you will be learning about the nature and process of communication. And at the end of this lesson, you are expected to be able to define communication, identify the features of effective communication, explain the nature and process of communication, and lastly, understand why we need to study communication. But before we will proceed, take a look at the following images. Now, what can you tell about these images? Yes, that is correct. These are all pictures of communication. Now, what is communication? Communication comes from the Latin word communicare, which means to share or to impart or to have a relation with. Communication is a process by which information is exchanged between individuals through a common system of symbols, signs, or behavior. It is the imparting of or exchanging of information or news. There are different ways and terms in which communication can be manifested. It can be through face-to-face or through a virtual meeting, a group discussion, a meeting or interview, a phone conversation, a letter correspondence, a class recitation, and many others. In other words, the basic function of communication is to achieve understanding or shared meaning and to persuade, inform, entertain, and manage relationships. This time, I am going to discuss the features of effective communication. In their pioneer book, Effective Public Relations, Professors Broom, Cutlip, and Center 2012 list the 7 C's of effective communication, and these are completeness, conciseness, concreteness, consideration, courtesy, clearness, and correctness. Completeness. Complete communication is essential to the quality of the communical process in general. Hence, communication should include everything that the receiver needs to hear from him or her to respond, react, or evaluate properly. The next one is conciseness. Conciseness does not mean keeping the message short, but making it direct or straight to the point. Insignificant or redundant information should be eliminated. Let's go to the third one. Consideration. To be effective, the speaker should always consider relevant information about his or her receiver, such as mood, background, race, preference, education, status, and needs, among others. By doing so, he or she can easily build rapport with the audience. Now to the fourth one, concreteness. Effective communication happens when the message is concrete, supported by facts, figures, the real-life examples and situations. In this case, the receiver is more connected to the message conveyed. The fifth one is courtesy. The speaker shows courtesy in communication by respecting the culture, values, and beliefs of his or her receivers. Being courteous at all times creates a positive impact on the audience. Clearness. Clearness in communication implies the use of simple and specific words to express ideas. It is also achieved when the speaker focuses only on a single objective in his or her speech so as not to confuse the audience. The last one is correctness. Correctness in grammar eliminates negative impact on the audience and increases the credibility and effectiveness of the message. Now, we will tackle the nature of communication. Number 1, communication is a process. Communication as a process means it is a step-by-step activity, and it is essentially a two-way process that involves the active participation of both the sender and receiver. It is the act or process of using words, sounds, signs, or behaviors to express or exchange information or to express ideas, thoughts, feelings, etc. to someone else. Number two, communication is an art. Communication is an art because it involves creativity. The savvy communicator can use various forms of word strands, tone, diction to make a situation more palatable and change the original negative perception of any given encounter into a more positive one. Number three, communication has a sender and receiver. Communication occurs between two or more people acting as the speaker or the receiver of the message. In other words, it is a two-way process of reaching mutual understanding, in which participants do not only exchange information or encode to decode news, ideas, and feelings, but also create shared meaning in general. Communication is a means of connecting people or places. The fourth one, communication is verbal or nonverbal. Communication can be expressed through written or spoken words. Actions of both spoken words and nonverbal actions at the same time. Communication is not all about sending or receiving facts in words. It does involve ideas and emotions that are expressed through signs, symbols, and gestures. The fifth nature is communication is inevitable. Inevitability means communication is taking place even when someone does not want or intend to communicate. This does not want to communicate feeling of someone actually does communicate something. What does this mean? It simply means that you cannot avoid communicating. Why? The truth is, we are communicating constantly because even when you do not want to communicate, you are communicating. Isn't that ironic? Yes, you are sending message by the way you smile, frown, sit, or move, or by the way you walk or dress up, or dress yourself, and by your actions. And even when you are sleeping in class, you are communicating that you are either bored or sick or whatever your reasons be, rather. Okay, communication is irreversible. This means that what you have said can never be unsaid. Irreversibility happens when the very minute you click the OK button for a comment or post on your social media, and that would be too late to take it back when a lot of people have already reacted and commented on it. The same thing when you perhaps throw a hurting or offensive word to your enemy because of your anger. The last nature of communication. Communication is unrepeatable. Unrepeatability means that an act of communication can never be duplicated. We may say the same thing over and over again, but the effect of what you said the second, third, or fourth time will not be the same as the first time you said it. Even if we intend to say the same thing again, which is possible, but the idea here is the outer world has changed the second utterance. The listeners may be different, our mood may be different, or our relationship might be in a different place. You don't get a second chance to make a first impression. Remember that. One of the best examples is at home, when your mother or sister rants about your laziness. The first time you heard it, your reaction would be bad. You probably cried or stayed in your bedroom the whole day. But when you heard it the second time or the third, that is different. The effect is different. You probably wouldn't react to it at all, or perhaps just laugh it out. The sure thing is, you cannot duplicate an act of communication. This time, let's take a closer look at the illustration on how the communication process takes place in any given situation. Here is diagram 1, the natural flow of the communication process. The speaker generates an idea. Then the speaker encodes an idea or converts the idea into words or actions. The speaker then transmits or sends out a message. The receiver gets the message. The receiver decodes or interprets the messages based on the context. The receiver sends or provides feedback. Here is diagram 2. Sheena and Nico friendship love story. Sheena loves Nico, her suitor, as a friend. Sheena thinks of how to tell Nico using their native language. She tells him, Nico, mahal kita, bilang kaibigan. Nico hears what Sheena said. Nico tries to analyze based on the context of their relationship, and he is heartbroken. He frowns and does not say anything because he is hurt. And now, let us have an activity. Activity 1. Show the process. Arrange the given example below, following the process of communication. Get your notebook or any piece of paper and try this activity. Are you done already? Let's check your answer. Okay, so now let's fill in the illustration. Okay, now this is the correct answer. I am thinking of telling my friend about my problem. I think of words to say. I tell my friend about my problems. My friend listens to me. My friend tries to understand what I am saying. My friend gives me advice. Moving on to the next activity. Activity 2. Tell whether the statement is true or false. Number 1. Communication is a process. Number 2. Communication is not an art. Number 3. Communication has a sender and a receiver. Number 4. Communication is inevitable. Number 5. Communication can either be written or spoken words. 6. Communication is reversible. Number 7. Man cannot survive without communication. And in number 8, communication is a one-way process. Number 9, complete communication is essential to the quality of communication in general. And the last, number 10, conciseness means keeping the message short. Okay, let's check your answers. Number 1, true. Number 2, false. Number 3, true. Number 4, true. Number 5, true. Number 6, false. Number 7, true. Number 8, false. Number 9, true. Number 10, false. Did you get all the answers correct? Very good. Congratulations, learners. You did it. Today you have learned about the nature and the process of communication. There are more interesting lessons that await you, so stay tuned and watch our next video lessons. So once again, this is Teacher Emerald saying happy learning!